What the Knicks are trying to do now is build for the next era with great players, and what David Fizdale wants to do is build it off of defense. And we'll show you how defense can turn to offense, and Damian Dotson had a great fourth quarter.
Yep.
And great effort at both ends of the floor here.
Yeah, and I just think this team tonight was locked in on the defensive end of the floor, and we're going to highlight Damian Dotson in a second. This is all about team defense. Okay, freeze it there. Here's Damian Dotson. He comes over to help, and he's right in front of the big man, which is exactly what you got to do. You got to have your feet in the paint early, and you got to meet the big man early so he doesn't have a free run to the basket. Mitchell Robinson, I love the active hands. Look at the long arms, the active hands, makes it a tough pass. There's the deflection. Now, when you get a deflection like this, let's go. Let's move. Want to push the ball up the floor. Want to get something easy. You know, Coach alluded to the ball sticking in half court. Now, freeze it there. Damian Dotson runs right into the open three-point shot. Look at the defenders. They're all trained to run to the paint first and defend the basket, and that leaves Damian Dotson wide open to knock down the three-point shot. That's textbook what David Fizdale wants out of his young team. Play good, solid defense, create some turnovers, and let those turnovers lead to easier shot attempts where you always don't have to go up against a set defense.
Right, especially when you don't have go-to scorers.
Right.
The best way to generate offense is off of transition, off of defense, and off of stops. But the Knicks do have a couple of guys that can score, that can create for themselves, and one of them is Trey Burke.
Yeah.
And we like this play they ran, this double screen, finding him on the weak side.
Yeah, and Trey Burke ready to go again. He had a really solid first half. He had 12 points in the first half, running the point. He's going to have to do more of it with the Frank injury. Freeze it there. Now, Damian Dotson comes off the screen, and he's definitely a threat to put the ball down and go to the basket. So what does Trey Burke's defender do? He has to come over and hedge and help a little bit. So that leaves Trey Burke a little float away from the defense to get a little bit of space away from his defender. That gives him that little bit of extra room on the kickback pass from Damian Dotson to get his shot off. This is just good recognition of how the defense is playing. Gets a little bit more space. Dwayne Wade had to be in help position. We always talk about players having to get to the nail to help, and Dwayne Wade was in the right spot. But by Trey Burke moving, it was a longer closeout for Dwayne Wade, give him a little more time to knock down that three.
And with injuries to Emmanuel Mudiay and then to Frank Ntilikina, Trey Burke once again moving into the rotation as a starting point guard. How's he kept himself active? Well, he's been working out extra in the practice facility. Not just practice, but comes back at night getting more work in, so he's ready for these opportunities.